So happy to be able to share some time with everybody for watching on the recording, or if you are live, welcome, welcome, welcome. It has been a while. For those of you who are new, I'm Jesse. I'm a tea guy. Let me adjust the camera a little bit. Here we go. Excellent. I just got back from a trip, a 2.5 month trip to China. So I got a bunch of new teas. I have a bunch of new stories to be able to tell everybody. It's great to be able to hang out and enjoy just some tea time together. So if you're watching this live stream, if you've joined, you're right here at the beginning. Welcome. You came at the perfect time to be able to find some tea, boil up your water, prepare your tea leaves, whatever you'd like to drink, and let's have some tea together. So it's great to be able to see everybody. Gray Fox, Miss Lady Gray Fox, hello. Good to see you. Ian Nagel says, welcome back. Welcome. Xiao Wu Hao from the Space City Goldfish. Welcome, welcome. First time watching a live from, oh gosh, I really need to make these cameras from Sahel. Thank you so much. I think I am going to try to move these cameras a little forward just because it's, see, that's why I shouldn't have tried to move the cameras. Welcome, Miraz. Hi from Mexico. Greetings to our friends in Mexico. Somebody says that they were in a motorcycle accident and had a blood clot from ankle to hip and they're in the hospital. I'm sorry about that, Rick. Hope you are feeling better, especially as a rider myself. That's bad news to hear. Hope you're doing all right. Wondering if you have a suggestion on tea I should drink when you leave. I'd say any tea you like. I don't think tea is powerful, but I'm not sure it's going to be powerful enough to completely heal your body from a motorcycle injury. But I think if you can find some relaxing space, I would say the space and how you drink your tea is maybe more important than the particular type. And if you want a suggestion of a particular type, I always recommend for people who are newer, I have an 8 tea sampler box. It comes with 8 different tea cards, whole bunch of different teas in there. I'm halfway through drinking this one. So you can see they all have like different info cards and stuff. So I recommend a sampler of some sort. I have a bunch of them on the site. The AT sampler is great. The Sister I7 Tea Mini Tongue is great. But I hope you recover. Just anything that'll help you recover. That's where you're going. So great. We got a lot of questions already. Let's get started. By the way, if I'm answering questions you don't see, I have Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube running at the same time on 3 phones. So that's the answer to that. And over here, let's get started. We have a lot of different questions over here. Welcome back to the US. It's great. Thank you. I had a lot of fun in China. It was really great. Thank you, that fat nurse. Just ordered some more of the Liu Bao Jasmine. And Paul Thomas says that's great. I'm excited to hear that, especially because I'm going to be drinking Liu Bao today. This is a 2012 Liu Bao tea that I got as a sample when I was in China. After I come back from China, I collect all these samples, and then oh, thank you so much for the gift over here. We got like a flute or something like that. After I get back from China, I always have all these samples ready, and so I basically just have to find time to sit and drink through the samples anyway. So glad to be able to share that process with you guys. Liu Bao, for people that don't know, I have a jasmine Liu Bao on the website, but what is Liu Bao? Liu Bao is a type of dark tea or hecha. So in the West, what we call black tea, Chinese call red tea, and this is what Chinese people call black tea. Oh, thank you so much, Rick, for the glowing the sphere. So I'll be pondering my sphere. I hope you recover quickly. It's always scary because I also ride. I'm always worried whenever I hear people saying they're getting in accidents, but I'm glad that you're doing better. We are, so the hecha that we're drinking right now, dark teas are called dark teas because they're what they call post-fermented. So they are fermented once, and the same way that you would make, oh, it's so good. It's they're fermented once and then piled up again and fermented in a second time after they're done. And the result is this very kind of dark, earthy, I always describe the scent as like an old library. And I know that may not sound too interesting, but I actually love the old library scent. It's fantastic. I'm getting you guys a little closer. Mr. Hunter says, just dropping in to say you're the best. Thanks for starting a tea business. I enjoy stuff a lot. Thank you, guys. It's really continues to be unreal that I have so many people who watch me drink tea every day. It's really crazy because I got into tea when I was living in China, and I would just be drinking tea by myself. And who knew when COVID hit, that gave me the perfect opportunity to start making these tea videos. And now, 5 years in, it's really a thing. People all over the world watch me make tea, which is unreal. Continuing on with my explanation of the liu bao. So the liu bao is it comes from Guangxi province, and it's generally made with like small leaf tea. It is aged and aged and aged, and so it's actually possible to get these 2022. Sorry, this is a 2012s, like these older liu bao. Thank you again, Rick, for the gifts. But if you're interested in, I appreciate the gifts, but you'd like the tea more. So if you want to support the channel, everybody, feel free to just get some tea. It wins. You win, I win, everybody wins. The farmers win, everybody wins. Yeah, I just got this really musty old library sent to it. Very dark, but clean and clear. So again, that's what you're looking for in a high quality tea. You want them color there, but it's transparent. It's not muddy. Some of the lower quality tea you'll get look very muddy. That's not going to work. Questions over here. Rezan Najdi, I believe. I'm sorry, Redon Najdi says, "Hey, I got some Palace pu'er from a local tea shop. Do you know what it entails? I'm not sure if it's right versus raw." So, Gongting pu'er or Palace pu'er is a specific type of pu'er tea that is made of very, very fine leaves, and it's always a show pu'er. It's always a cooked pu'er. So, what you have there is a cooked pu'er. Whether it's good or not, I don't know, but you should give it a try. If you got it, give it a try. I hope you like it. That is the type of pu'er that we put inside our tea oranges. So inside the tea orange, where we say Royal Show Pu'er Tea, you can look over here, Royal Show Pu'er Tea. That's the same translation as like Palace, Royal Pu'er, Palace Pu'er. That's the type of tea that's in there. I believe it's because it was in the fashion of the court in China to deliver the pu'er in that form. We have a big question from Mary. 我前世是一个31部队的一个科学家。Okay, great, awesome. I don't know. Mary is a reincarnated scientist. Very, very cool. Questions over here. Will the Sakura Cloud White Tea ever be restocked? I'm running low, but it's my favorite everyday tea. From Parker. Yes. So that tea is coming back, but instead of coming back in the coins, it's going to come back as a 50-gram cake. So, like for instance, the like this sort of box, we're going to have it with the new packaging, put out into a cake. This is again a different cake, but that's about what a 50-gram cake looks like. So they're going to come back in the 50-gram, and I believe we also have like 250-gram versions of it as well. So that's they will be coming back. I've already made the order. Doi Doi is getting it together. Doi Doi is a great guy, but he's not like super fast at packaging. Like we'll place an order, and then like a week later turn around and be like, "Hey, have you started?" He's like, yeah," and then he'll actually go do it. So he's great. The tea is amazing, and he's a great dude, but he's not super fast on the restocks, which is why that's been out of stock for a while. But yes, that tea is so good. I'm definitely not losing that one. Other questions over here. Will we ever put the 2011 fooding back on the sale? Probably not. We ran out of that batch, and then when we ran out, I figure I'll get a new aged white tea at some point. And the new aged white tea I got was the Sisterized 2014-2015 blend. But more white teas are kind of on my search right now. And so we're definitely going to be on the lookout for new white teas. But if you want a new white tea new to the site, the Moonlight White chocolate bar, which we just launched, is really good. And you get 60 grams instead of 50 for the price. Questions over here. Sahel Amasareka. I'm sorry, Sahel. Hey Jesse, do I need any prior experience with drinking complex teas to start pu'er? I like to actually be able to recognize the subtle notes and deeper flavors. Been just drinking normal tea. So I would put it this way. Don't put pressure on yourself that you have to, there's a taste you're supposed to have when you do it. Like try some pu'er, see if you like it, enjoy it. Whatever you taste, that's what you taste. There's no way to be able to recognize minute differences between different types of pu'er if you've just never had any pu'er. I've never taken any tea sommelier courses. I just drink a lot of tea. And so when you drink a lot of tea, it all kind of stays in your head. Some people actually like keeping like a notebook about their tasting notes and what they liked. I never really got into that, but that's just kind of because I'm a disorganized, all over the place person. But I would say just go for it. Try drinking some different pu'er. If you want to be kind of more aware of what you're drinking, try to look again on the year that the tea is produced. So you can try to get an idea about, hey, when tea is aged, and I have teas that's 3 years aged, and 7 years aged, and 20 years aged. So you can kind of detect the effect of the aging. And then also you can pay attention to the mountain name. So in China, they really care about which mountain the pu'er tea is from. Is it from Laobanzhang? Is it from Bingdao? Is it from Jingmai Shan, Hulangshan, whatever the different mountains. Um, but like again, I in terms of the taste, like it's your mouth, it's your tongue. You have to drink it before you're going to have an idea about what it tastes like. I don't think it's a waste of your time or money to drink it if you haven't tried other stuff before. I mean, everybody's got to try it at one point. And also, like, which of these teas are like higher level? Like, a lot of this is kind of like there's the Chinese tea scene, and they have their own ways of determining which teas are in and which teas are not. And some of that has to do with the actual flavor, but a lot of it's also just like kind of what's in the scene. I don't follow like sneakers, which sneakers look good. I don't know. So like some of it is taste. But also the stuff that you were talking about in terms of the flavor or the tasting notes, that stuff is real. And the only way you're going to learn it is by drinking it. And I am just lucky that I got to live so many years in China and go to so many tea shops and tea mountains and then just kind of accumulate the experience. Um, but yeah, I would say for you, the main thing in terms of getting into pu'er is like just don't overspend. I think like at the level that you're looking at, anything over $100 for a tea cake is probably not going to be like essential. There's yeah, it's like you can get good tea for that price, and like you can pay over it, but I wouldn't be like it's not like you want to be like, oh, I've never driven a car before, so I'm going to buy a supercar because I got into it. Like you can use that money to try many different types of pu'er, different years, different mountains, and then once you find what you really like, you can kind of get more into it. So I hope that was useful answer. Questions over here. Salt Cipher says, I once found a Dancong Oolong from a Western tea shop. They just labeled it as Phoenix Oolong, though. It had this beautiful, sweet stone fruit flavor. Any Rex for a similar flavor profile? Um, the Dancong Oolong is quite nice. Yeah, it's impossible to tell exactly what it was if it was just called Phoenix Oolong. I would just try a bunch of different types of Dancong. Honestly, like if you like dancehong, try some more different dancehongs. I mean, that's one of the things about the dancehong oolong market is that there are lots of little differences, and there's many different types of dancehong, and they'll all taste slightly different from each other. But if you liked one, you're likely to like others. So I actually wouldn't spend too much time worrying about that specifically, and I would just try some other ones. The dancehong oolongs are on my list of things maybe in 2027 to do because I can find some, but I really want to go to the Phoenix Mountains. I've never been there and like really do the Dunsholm research myself. And that's on my list of things I'd love to get accomplished next year. But it hasn't happened this year, and looking at my schedule for the second half of the year, it's probably not going to happen. Well, it's possible. Maybe I'm still deciding whether I should take a trip back to China in the fall. But seeing as I was just there 2.5 months, I'm kind of like not thinking about that yet. I'm going to give myself a little bit of time before I do that. Yeah, question. Yeah, so Rum Brave, are we going to get some JTH Downs home, or were you just sourcing rock teas? The last time I was in China, I spent a lot of energy on the rock teas, which I believe we are going to have a result from. No spoilers yet, but I would like to do a whole rock tea themed sampler. We're working on it. I found a bunch of really good tea, and actually, kind of like happiest for me is I found some, like, not just some good rock teas, which there are definitely out there, but I found some ones that are like really solid and aren't expensive, which is the thing. For a couple years ago, it was very difficult to find good rock tea that was just good and not expensive because the whole market was getting bought up by the Chinese. But now the production has expanded, but also just like the heat has kind of taken a little bit off of the rock tea market, and as a result, I found some that are going to be quite good, I think, and that are not super expensive. And then I've also found some that are varying levels of expensive above it, but like you can get a lot of really good rock tea at reasonable prices now as opposed to like a year or two ago. So I'm excited to do that. Other questions. Reza Naj again says, having pu'er for the first time today, is it always best to start steeping it 100 Celsius? Is that pu'er? It's the palace pu'er before. Yeah, I would start at boiling. Cooked pu'er is much easier to like control. Like raw pu'er, I usually say steep at 100, but if you over steep it, it can get bitter. For cooked pu'er and the palace pu'er you have, I don't think you'll have that problem. I wouldn't worry about that. Just do a wash steep, and then you can go right into the rest. So lots of other great questions. By the way, if anybody's just joining, I'm Jesse. I'm a tea guy. I lived in China for many years. Got really into tea. It was my hobby. Now I spend maybe 3, 4, or 5 months a year in China finding you guys good teas, and then the rest of the time I'm back here in the States. And I just got back from 78 days in China sourcing tea for you guys, which was a lot of fun. It was crazy. I mean, I think that every year the trips get longer and longer. Like, I think part of me still really wishes that I lived in China full time. But then when I live in China for more than, say, 2 months at a time, then some of the problems start creeping up a little bit more. But for the first 2 months, it's always super, super fun. I think this is kind of the challenge of going back and forth between different countries, is that every place has stuff it does great. And that when you're in one place, you miss the stuff from the second place. When you're in the second place, you miss the stuff from the first place. And then obviously it's complicated. I'm American. Living in China as an American is an interesting thing now. The America and China don't have great relations. I remember I went to a spa, like they have a hot springs in Beijing, and I was looking around, and in the spa, the only other white people in the spa are all Russians, because Russians actually have visa free to China now. So there are lots of Russians that go to China on vacation. They're blocked from basically going anywhere else, and so they go to Russia. I'm sorry, they go to China. And I was in the spa in the bath, and I was looking, on my left are the Chinese, and on my right are the Russians, and on the TV is the news. And the news in China is always the worst thing that happened in America that day. So I'm sitting here in the bath, like, surrounded by Chinese and Russians, looking at the state TV news about America, and I'm like, are they going to let me back in? I'm like, I'm just a tea guy, man. I'm here for the tea. But it was, so you get into those environments, and then it's obviously very different from coming back to here, where I'm a citizen, and I kind of, I would say I fit in a little bit better. I'm not sure if that's true. I think I fit in okay in both places, but it has definitely been a little bit of a culture shock coming back. Very, very cool. Aquarium Ski says, tea meetup anytime soon in LA or San Diego? Yeah, I mean, definitely, possibly in both. In San Diego, I actually had a meeting with Stone Brewing, like the brewery, last week, to see if maybe we could collaborate on doing like a tea themed beer thing. That would be fun, to brew some like tea themed beers, and then do like a tasting where we could have like tea, beer, and food. If you would come to that at a brewery, whether it's Stone or anywhere else, put it in the comments that you'd come to our tea, then beer and food brewing thing. But in LA and San Diego and all around SoCal, we actually have a SoCal chat in the Discord. So go to the Jesse's Tea House Discord. If there are any Discord followers on here, send the link to our Discord into the chat. Or you can private message me on Instagram and I will send you the link to the Discord. We have almost 9,000 people in that Discord. It's like actually an unbelievable community. And we actually just onboarded a part-time Discord manager who's like paid and on the staff to help just make the Discord amazing. So that has its own area. And even if I'm not there, I know that they have, I think, a monthly meetup in LA that's organized on my Discord. So we also have regional chats. We have a UK chat. We have an EU chat. We have a Northeast America. We have a Pacific Northwest. We have a Canada chat. We have all sorts of chats. We have an Australia, New Zealand chat. So like it's a great place to meet kind of like tea people in your neighborhood. Very, very cool. People saying the drinks would be sick. Wish I could do an East Coast brewery. That would be really fun. Stone in Esco is dope, but closing. So yes, down. Yeah, they told me it was closing, which is really sad. Over here, yes, San Diego would be awesome. I would love to meet up in Stone. Okay, that's cool. Any idea when the spring green tea orders will ship out? Great question. So we have them right here. I brought back the 2026 spring green teas from China. These are the ones from the actual production run you guys are getting, but we just took a couple out so I could bring them back with me. See which we have the three of them. The 2026 spring Longjing green tea. By the way, we've fixed the packaging in the sense that they used to be kind of like really hard to like press down, but we have the tolerances now. Very nice. So a little bit of improvement there. We have our 2026 white Anji green tea, which again, just beautiful. This is always a favorite of mine, just very sweet. And then this year we have a new one, which is a spring premium jasmine pearl green tea. So it's premium jasmine pearls. You might have seen jasmine pearls on other places. One of the reasons I haven't sold jasmine pearls for the first 5 years of running the tea house is because most jasmine pearls are made for export because Chinese don't really drink jasmine pearls. And so like they're made for export. And so the tea is usually pretty crappy. So it actually took a long time to find jasmine pearls that as a tea guy, I was like, I actually want to drink that as opposed to like just the standard export quality stuff. All of these are coming to the different markets. They've all shipped. We had 3 weeks of a delay in Chinese customs, which was really unlucky. Normally, if we hit customs delays, it's coming in. The country that's taking stuff in has like a much bigger incentive to make sure that everything is healthy and everything is packed right and everything is legal. And usually going out of China, they very rarely give us any crap. But this time, for whatever reason, the whole boat got inspected and we had to wait something like 3 weeks, which really sucks because everybody was pre-ordered. But everything is on its way now. I believe the launch date is looking like late July. But we'll let you guys know. Any updates on it will be sent immediately to the website page. So if you go on the green tea pre-order page, you'll be able to do it. I'm also thinking next year, I don't know what to do about this, but like next year, I'm thinking that maybe we have a way of doing the pre-orders by air shipping to save some time. We're already air shipping them to the EU and UK. But like those places, because their regulations are so crazy and their customs are so crazy, it takes just as long to airship to those places because it always sits for 2 to 3 weeks clearing customs. So like we basically don't save any time with it. But for our American and Canadian customers, we might save some time by air shipping them. It would make it more expensive, but maybe that's just the perk for you guys pre-ordering is that you can get it by air. I don't know if I can give the free TPET and the air shipping though. I need to look into the numbers. But yes, all of them are good. I've just tried them. I filmed a video earlier this week about the new green teas, and I'm very excited to get them to you. The packaging, as always, I think we did a great job. They're just like really pretty. Got steeping instructions and everything on there. And then the inside to keep all the air out. It keeps all the air out and then also just like moves up and down very nicely now. So yeah, as always, keep up on that. And then I'm working to try to see how we can keep people better updated about pre-orders in general. Because actually, this is something I want to chat with everybody about. So ask you guys some questions so you can see whether or not you agree with how I'm doing this. So basically, one of the big learnings from this trip to China is that the Chinese like tea sellers, every year they're getting more and more interested in selling tea abroad. Um, but they don't build their own brands, they just copy mine. So basically all of, like, you went back to the Dehua where we make the porcelain for our tea sets, and our tea guy was like, yes, every teaware manufacturer in Dehua follows your page and looks at what you put on, and they just copy you, and they drive the price down. And again, I don't have clarification on the quality of their products. This is the whole thing. If I come out with something, they come out with cheaper versions of it and put it on Amazon, and they're locked on the channel. And this creates a challenge for me, because if I want to show you guys the process of finding you guys the stuff, which I would like to show you, I actually really enjoy kind of taking you along as we go to the tea mountains, as we go to the porcelain workshops. Like, I don't want to have to hide everything until it's out. But on the other hand, if I just put it out and it's going to take me 3 to 6 months to make everything, to create the art, to put it into the molds, to get everything done, to get it packed, to get it shipped, like the Chinese who are just knocking it off and willing to airship it one at a time, um, like these, they're going to beat me to the punch basically. And so I need to find some way in order to make sure that if I'm developing something, I can develop it and know that if you guys saw it here and want it from me, that you're not just going to get like blasted by a bunch of fake stuff. And so the thought was to start doing more pre-orders, like we did with the green tea, but also like we did with the porcelain dragons. And like I have a bunch of new stuff that's in development now, and I'm kind of in between showing you guys the new stuff in development and not wanting to get ripped off. So if anybody has any thoughts about how I should do this, what should I do about this situation? Because if it would be a lot cheaper to give you guys tea stuff if I didn't need to make 500 videos a year and actually do all the work. If I just waited until somebody made something and then copied it, I could actually make it cheaper. But it may not necessarily be the same quality. It would just look the same or look similar. So I'm trying to think about what to do. So people say models works, but it's a complication. I think your info itself is a testament of quality, which I'd like to believe. I think it works better. Come up with a secret channel, but then you guys won't know about it. Um, hate that they copy. Have no issue paying a premium for the quality and trust. I appreciate it. If people are willing to do that, it solves a lot of problems. But we don't know. This kind of has to be an honor. Westerner, moves the entire regional porcelain market. Oh, let's be clear. I'm maybe moving the needle on people selling in the West. The entire Chinese porcelain market has no interest or knowledge of me. But the people specifically looking to sell abroad, they look online, and there's not a ton of people that are really doing this like wholeheartedly on the internet. Um, questions over here. Blah, 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 we have somebody who's saying over here that somebody was saying that I think Instagram said I was referring people to a third-party website, which I was, which is my site, which I should be allowed to do. I have no idea why they wouldn't do that. Anyway, not the point. And questions over here, other thoughts. In a world full of fakes, honesty will prevail. That is my hope, man. That's my hope. CMAT says customer support is great. Oh, I appreciate it. Like we have real people. We have 4 people on the customer service team right now. Claudine doing the emails, Angel kind of managing the team and being in between everything. Mickey does our analytics and make sure everything is on track for our meetings, as well as solve a bunch of other problems and do email. And now Emily is joined to be able to do the Discord. So we got like real people in the US and Canada doing customer service, which is the thing is, I'm finding as all customer service gets pushed first to India and to the Philippines, and then now increasingly to AI, like hiring customer service people in America, there's like no there's no structure around it anymore. Like if you try to find people to do trainings, nobody knows how to do trainings anymore. They only know how to do trainings for these massive help centers in India and the Philippines. Nobody like does training for customer service groups based in the US anymore. It's crazy. I was looking to try to find a training program to get us to use our email. When you guys email, it goes to this app called Zendesk, and then they get like tickets, and so they can look through and answer all the emails personally. And like, how do you do this training? And then a lot of the training are like not really meant for like small groups of Americans doing customer service anymore. It's kind of wild. But yeah, I pride myself on the customer service team being really good. And again, this is one of the other things that I hope will differentiate us from all the copycats. If something breaks in shipping, we'll replace it. If you guys have a challenge with like an item, like, you drop your filter for this set, we actually have extras of the filter for that set that we can send you. And obviously everybody is like, we got like tea people on board, which is great. Sammy says, if I only crave tea at night, which tea would you recommend that has the most flavor? That's a great question. See if I have a bag of it right here. This is it's almost empty, but you can see it. Hainanese Yellow Rosewood. It's non-caffeinated. This stuff is really good at night because it's not technically tea. It's the leaf of the Hainanese Yellow Rosewood tree, which makes like very high-end furniture in China. So they grow these trees. This is in Hainan, which is like the Chinese Hawaii. It's like an island off the south coast of China. It's about in the same latitude as like Thailand and Vietnam. And so it's a tropical island. And in the middle of the island, they grow these yellow rosewood trees. And the leaves of the yellow rosewood trees, they pick them and they treat them like tea. So they heat treat them, they roll them, they ferment them, they do everything that they would in making a red tea, but it's not the tea leaf, so it has no caffeine. And as far as I know, I'm the only person that sells this outside of China. So Hainanese Yellow Rosewood, give that a try. You can find it on my site. Very cool. What's the watch? The watch, I got this in China. The watch is a Haiou, a Seagull 1963 stopwatch. It is based off of a model of Chinese Air Force pilots, and it has a little stopwatch function. I just thought it was cool. You can see here. So the get it going, and then you can see the red ticker over there. That's the stopwatch. And then the over on the right side, there's a circle that goes, 10, 20, 30. And that 10, 20, 30 is how many minutes the stopwatch has been running. So I've always been into watches. I never really wore many watches. And when I was in Japan about a month ago, the exchange rate was so good that I was like, I should really get a Japanese watch in Japan. The exchange rate was really good, and they have a tax. If you're a foreigner buying, you don't pay sales tax. So you can basically buy the watch and you wrap it up and put it in a bag. And then if you go to the airport still unsealed, they will basically they will take give you a rebate on the sales tax. So I went and I bought a watch there, but the watch I bought it's not super nice. I think I spent like $200. It's not like a crazy watch, but it looked really nice. And then I was like, oh, I don't know if I want to wear the $200 watch every day because it's kind of a little almost too nice. So I got another watch that I like that's more for like every day. And they make good watches from Seagull. The company apparently didn't inherit. They bought a bunch of Swiss watchmaking. They bought a bunch of Swiss watchmaking material in like the 1920s or something like that. And so they actually use like original old Swiss watchmaking material, or at least they did in the beginning. Very cool. It is a mechanical watch, so you see on the back, like it's actual like machinery, which is cool. Yeah, that's fun. I always like seeing the little machines running in there. So it's a mechanical but not automatic. So I got to wind it every day. Very cool. Is red jade meant to look like Red Bull? Oh, like the packaging? That's funny. It does kind of have a little bit of that Red Bull energy. No, we did not make it to look like that. But that is funny. I didn't even think of that. Very cool. Oh. All right, get this back on. Boom, boom, boom. Great. By the way, if you are in a place where you can drink tea right now, I very much recommend you take out your tea, take out your tea set, enjoy yourselves. Very cool. Other questions over there? Seaside, Oregon, exclamation point. Welcome to our friends in Oregon. Oregon looks beautiful. I've never actually been to Oregon. It's on my list of places to go sometime. I have Chinese friends of mine that love going to, they love oysters. And so every year they go and they like hang out in Oregon and like eat a ton of oysters. Questions over here. Crystal back. Yeah, it's nice. Eugene, Oregon. Have you ever tried pu'er tea? Oh yeah, I tried a lot of pu'er tea. If you go back on the channel, I have a bunch of videos on pu'er. Very cool. I'm having 2026 Old Arbor Raw Pu'er. Nice. This year's Old Arbor Raw Pu'er. Very nice. Very, very cool. I just want to say the Mage Ha slaps and I love it. Great offering. Thank you so much. The Mage Ha, by the way, I'll show it to you guys. Let me get my thing of Mage Ha so you can see what I'm talking about. The, yeah. This stuff is really cool and quite unusual. It's Mage Ha. It's in this cycle subscription box. So if you get the subscription box, you get one of these in the US and Canada markets. Oh, whoa, that's cool. And it's actually a vine with this white frost on it. And it's so again, not a true tea leaf tea. It's a vine. But it has like a very kind of like sweet, herbally, grassy flavor to it. But then also, don't oversteep it or it does get bitter. But if you don't oversteep it and you don't put too much in, you get this really nice, sweet, herbal, grassy flavor. And then if you just drink normal water, take a sip of the Mage Ha and a sip of the water, some sort of like weird, like, whatever, alien fruit, chemistry is going on here where the water just tastes very sweet. It tastes almost like you're drinking, if you have like a sucking candy and then you like swallow your spit from the sucking candy and it tastes like sweet water, sugar. That's what this tastes like. That's what this makes regular water taste like. So it's very cool. If you've tried the Mage Ha, put a comment in the thing about how you liked it. The one thing to remember though is that if you oversteep it or put too much in, it will get bitter. So it is a little bit tricky to make, but it is a lot of fun. Jesse, are there plans for another tea meetup in LA? If there are, they're going to be on our Discord. So join the Discord if you want. I'm thinking of doing more of them, especially this summer, because I'm going to be around most of the summer, which will be very cool. Questions over here. It's kind of weird restricted ordering to Switzerland, even though we're not part of the EU. Like it won't even let me order from the UK or US store. That's surprising. I would thought that we could have at least shipped from the US store. Are you saying you can't get anything in Switzerland from the US store, or just the Mage Ha? Because you should be able to. You should be able to get just regular stuff from the US store or the EU store sent over. But Switzerland is a weird market because you're not in the EU. So, does the production influence the pu'er flavor? I've only had Dai and Zhongcha so far. Yeah, I mean, production is one of the big things that changes just the flavor of tea in general. You give two different tea makers the same picked leaves and let them produce them the way that they want to turn them into tea, and they'll taste different. And obviously, like, the difference between green tea and red tea and white tea and black tea and all these things, they're all different based off of the production. The leaf themselves is the same leaf. So yeah, it can definitely be different. Other questions over here. Any plans for South America? We can ship to South America, but it is expensive. I know. I don't think we have a big enough market in South America, unfortunately, to open a warehouse, but we'll figure it out. Jesse, do you have any plans to launch any yellow teas on the site? We do. I can't tell you exactly when, but we do have plans. I found a yellow tea that I really like that is affordable enough for me to be able to put it into a subscription box going forward. I can't tell you which box it's going to be. Part of it's going to depend on how quickly we can do our, packaging and all that sort of stuff. But I do think that we will see a yellow tea on the site, hopefully before the year is out. That's my prediction. But yeah, it's been on the list. We found it, and we're making it, but I can't tell you exactly when. So that'll be super fun. Oldest teaware that I own. Okay, so I'm going to show you. This is the oldest one that I'm pretty sure is actually old. This is a Qing Dynasty Gaiwan from the reign of the Guangxu Emperor. You can tell on the bottom there's a stamp, and it shows the reign marking. And it is a wedding. I believe it's a wedding Gaiwan because it has the shuangxi, the double happiness on there. Obviously handmade, hand painted. On the inside, you have a bunch of kind of like little cracks and stuff. Somebody had their name etched or like, qiaojinlai, like kind of like poked into the porcelain. And then it has gold staples that have been made as a repair for the cracked Gaiwan. You see the gold staples that have been put in the side. And this was given to me as a gift by a friend my friend Yinqing, who does antiques. And we believe this is probably from around 1850 or so. So that's pretty cool. Love me some of this old stuff. And then I have a bowl that I was given as a gift that they said it was older than this, but it was given to me by somebody who doesn't know antiques and given to them by somebody else who doesn't know antiques. So I'm not going to get in the business of guessing which is which, but that's the oldest piece of tea equipment I have, and I use it for special occasions. I usually make a very rare tea in that Gaiwan on my birthday, for instance. Very, very cool. In Chinese traditional like weddings, there's a part of the wedding which is called the tea ceremony, where usually the man will go. They'll both do it. Both sides will go and make tea for the parents, and so you have all of the parents, as many of them as you can get, that are sitting, and then you make tea for them, and then you'll say, "Mom, drink tea," or "Dad, drink tea" to your in-laws. So it's your first opportunity to ritualistically call your in-laws mother and father. And so there are fancy teacups that are prepared for that occasion. And it also would explain why one of those teacups might have been kept, 100 years or something like that, because a teacup that's used at the wedding ceremony would have like special significance to the people who are, getting married, or to the family of people getting married. And especially if they were nice, it would be good. But I don't believe it has any sort of massive. Actually, I have no idea what Qing Dynasty Gaiwans go for, but I don't think it has any massive like historical importance, which is why we were able to get it out. Cheers, great questions. Oh my gosh, it wants me to improve that sort of practice in my wedding this year. That's really lovely. It is a nice thing. I like that. I've never been married, but I'd assume like this is one of those moments. Like you have these new in-laws now, and they're like, "Who are they?" And the Chinese are like, "Mother, father." That's who they are. So I think it's a good thing. Over here, been really loving the Liu Bao Fu bricks. Any recommendations for people who love golden flowers? I have some that I'm working on. I'm hopefully going to try to get some Fu Cha on the site myself. But until then, all of my recommendations are like coming from IT people, and they're not sold in the West. So unfortunately, you don't have as much to be able to tell you there right now. Oolong question: how much does oolong differ from region to region? Which region's oolong do you prefer? That's a great question. Oolong does differ from region to region, but the big difference is in the in the production of the tea and the like how it's prepared. So like the type of the oolong. For instance, like a Taiwanese oolong, a lot of them are what they call qingxiangxin, which are like clean and fragrant oolongs. That's like very light, kind of much more towards the green tea type of things, where it's like sweet water, very like nice kind of like floral note. On the other hand, you have like rock tea, yan cha from Fujian, which is like very dark, roasted, extremely rich, extremely deep. Um, that makes a lot more difference. Like the same tea mountain or the same region like Fujian making the Qingxiangxing, like the light and fragrant versus the rock tea. That's where the real differences are. In terms of terroir, I really like the Taiwanese oolongs. I'll also say, when I went to Vietnam, and in Vietnam they have whole mountains where they grow Taiwanese varietals. So they get the same varietals of plants that are grown in Taiwan. They grow them in similar temperature as Taiwan, in similar altitude as Taiwan. And the resulting Taiwanese oolong is smuggled back into Taiwan and sold as Taiwanese oolong. It's actually a big problem for the Taiwanese oolong people, is that they are flooded with cheaper tea from Vietnam. And while I won't say that the tea I had in Vietnam was better than the best Vietnamese tea, I mean, the best Taiwanese tea I will have, I will say that it tasted a lot like Taiwanese oolong. I remember sitting in the tea mountain in Vietnam and closing my eyes and drinking the tea, and I was like, if you told me I was in Taiwan right now drinking this tea and feeling the weather and everything like that, I would believe you that I was in Taiwan. I've actually thought about maybe putting some of that up on the site, not as a fake Taiwanese tea, but as Vietnamese Taiwanese style tea. Because I think that it does have a place. I don't think it's good for the Vietnamese farmers or the Taiwanese business people to be tricking customers and making it unclear what tea is made, and make it harder for all the Taiwanese farmers to be able to sell their Taiwanese tea as Taiwanese. But if it's good tea and it's grown well and it tastes good and it's not super expensive, I think there's a place for it. And so that's actually on my list again for 2027, maybe doing some Taiwanese teas. I don't think we're going to get any before the end of this year, but it would be fun. Great questions over here. I'm going to ask one or two more. Friend gifted me a Wui Rock Oolong Da Hong Pao. Is there different regions that produce this tea? Your book was fun to read. Oh, thank you so much. By the way, do I have a copy of the book next to me? Where's my book? I should have a copy of my book on hand. It's all the way across the room. I'll show you guys later. But yeah, if you want to read my book, This Was Funnier in China, about my many years living in China, studying traditional Chinese comedy. Questions were about rock oolong. So this is the thing, like rock oolong is a little bit like champagne. If it's real rock oolong tea, it comes from Wui Mountain in Fujian. There's other like heavily oxidized oolongs that you can buy elsewhere that might taste somewhat similar. But if it's not from Wui Mountain, it's not really considered to be rock tea. So that's one of the areas where I can say yes, if it's real Wui Mountain tea, that's where you want to get it from. That being said, Da Hong Pao is many things. Da Hong Pao refers to a type of tea processing technique. Like you can make Da Hong Pao tea with leaves of other types. It is also a varietal of tea plant. So you can grow Da Hong Pao leaves and turn them into Da Hong Pao or something else. And then there's like the original Da Hong Pao, which comes from like the mother trees, which is like the 6 trees that have been identified as basically the genetic starting off point of the Da Hong Pao cultivar. And that stuff is like priceless. It goes on auction for like $1 million once a year. Like you can't get it. They don't even pick it anymore. The trees are owned by the government, and the government doesn't pick them anymore. So that's like, there's not a lot of hope for that. I think they gave President Nixon, when he visited Mao in the 70s, they gave him like 250 grams or something like that of Da Hong Pao tea. And he thought like, oh, that's not a lot of tea. And they told him like, that's half of the entire crop for the whole year, because it comes from 6 trees. And that's all there are. So all of this is to say that I don't know what exactly you have, but Dahong Bahulong is good. Enjoy it. It's like, don't let the over geekiness of the tea thing stop you from just enjoying some nice tea that you got as a gift. And hopefully it is from Wee Mountain, but even if it's not, a lot of the sort of like fake rock tea is from that area anyway. So you may not have the exact nutritional characteristics of it came directly from Wee Mountain, but it also might be authentic. I just don't know. That's the thing. So a lot of people say like, "Oh, what do you think about this brand or whatever?" I'm like, I just don't know because I didn't do it. I didn't go to the mountain. I don't know the people. I just I don't know. And I don't want to bad talk or good talk anyone where I'm just like talking out my ass. Cheers. Let's do a couple more questions. Um, blah, blah, blah. I have a large collection of Tianjin and other cups. Love them all. Beautiful pieces of art. Tianjin is beautiful. We have. I got a Tianjin cup as a gift. Where it's over there. I'll get it later. But the Tianjin pottery, very good. Keep your eye on the site. We're going to do something very interesting with Tianjin this holiday season. So if you like Tianjin, keep your eyes open. Very, very cool. What is the best tea from your Sister Eye's 50-gram sampler? The best tea, it's hard to say. The Black Beauty is really, really good. The 1,000-Year Tree Red Tea is really, really good. Even the everyday teas, they call them everyday. It's everyday if you're like a tea farmer with access to ancient trees. It's not, they're not like everyday quality. I think they're all really good. It's hard to say. I say don't listen to my take on it. Get the mini tome. Get the 7 coin thing. Don't do the 50-gram sampler. Do the 7-gram sampler. So you get 7 different tea coins. I'll show you the mini tome. So this is the mini tome. So it's we sell them just like this. They're wrapped up in the traditional style. Inside of this is 7 individual tea coins. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And inside of the tea coins are all 8 grams of tea. So they're 7 times 8 grams. And this is one of each of the 7 teas from that line. You try them, have a good time, enjoy the mini tome. Have fun with the coins, and then when you find the one you like, you can either buy the individual 50-gram, or if you like them all, go and get the big tome. I really should have my stuff more organized, but I don't have the big tome next to me. But you take the big tome, and that is that's the best deal you can get. Also, we're gonna have large cakes for all 7 of them coming out this summer. I actually don't think it's going to be that long. We'll have the large cakes of the Sister Eyes coming out, I think, in August. So that'll be fun. Excited for the full cakes of the Sister Eyes teas. Unfortunately, I stocked up before you announced the release. I'm sorry about that. But having a bunch of the small ones is actually nice because you can give them away as gifts. And it is nice to have the small cakes. They're more convenient to take around than the big cakes as well. But yeah, it's all good tea. Questions over here. What's the status on the dragon tea pets? So the dragons are going to be coming, I believe, in late July. We don't know for sure. Again, part of the thing about this pre-order is that I just don't know. If any of you ever want a refund on your dragon thing, I'll give you your $1 back and you can get it. I'm not in here to take people's money and then never deliver, but I just don't know. And it is it's a weird time to be shipping stuff all over the world. The war caused a lot of delays. The trade war caused a lot of problems. Kind of the global system that was built up kind of after the Second World War is rapidly kind of crumbling, and so it's just very difficult to tell people exactly when things are coming. And so I feel like sometimes the great thing about the internet is I can talk directly to all of you and tell you what's going on right now, and I can give you all the updates and tell you everything. The bad news is that I have no control over who's watching. These platforms are doing it for their benefit, not mine and not yours. And so it's impossible to tell people what's going on. I could have announced the answer to that 5 minutes ago, and if you weren't here, you would never know it. So as a result, in order to save me and my team a ton of time and grief. We just don't give any updates on the pre-orders until they're there. If we have any updates, they go onto the item page. So if you ever want to know any updates on your dragon, if you've pre-ordered one of the dragons, don't ask me. You don't need to email the team. You can go directly to the page, and if you see any updates, they will be there. And if they're not there, we don't have any updates. I'm working on some tech solutions that might be able to track where all our stuff is and automatically update the item page, but that's like heavy technology, and I'm not sure that it's actually going to be possible. It's just like nothing talks to each other. So the suppliers in China send their information by WeChat, and the boat shippers send a tracking number that's on some janky website that like never updates properly, and then customs doesn't let us know when things are done, and so it's very difficult to even keep track of where they are sometimes, and that's why we give these very vague descriptions of when they're coming, and they could get inspected going out or coming in. And when they get inspected, we have a shipment that's under inspection from last February. It's been 15 months and we haven't heard back from that inspection. So like sometimes it just disappears, and there's just the way it is. So we are doing the best we can with the dragons. And one thing I will say though is I believe once we get them back in stock, I hope we'll be able to keep them in stock. Although you never know. Like we had a lot more interest in the dragons than I expected. So very eager to make sure that we can get those off to everybody. They're super fun. Other questions over here. Is Rogueway a good entry into Wee Rock Tea? Yeah, Rogueway is one of the most basic cultivars of Wee Rock Tea. It's good. It's fragrant. I like it. That being said, it's like anything else. Like good quality is good quality. But like, Rogueway is great. Maria Berry says, I really love the new thermos. I'm glad people have been enjoying the new thermos. I think we're going to do a second run of them with a different art and keep the originals. I just find them to be really useful. I actually use mine all the time. I take it to the gym for cold water. I take it to the, also to the health club whenever I go and work from work share. I take it around. I take it to my radio show where I can have hot water in the thermos and then use a teapot in order to steep the tea. Like I use my thermos all the time. So also, I think they're a really good deal for $25. Like it surprised me that stuff was not as expensive to manufacture as I thought it would be. Like I've never done any like manufacturing of thermoses and stuff like that. So I'm sure that it's not quite up to the quality of like a high end whatever Stanley or something like that. But like for what it cost, I think it works really well. I use it myself. Very cool. Any way to directly get your store items from China to India? China is closer. Yes, unfortunately, no, I don't have any way of doing that. And the reason has to do with export laws. You would think that it's easier to ship it because it's close. But in order to do that, I would have to learn all the Indian import laws as they pertain to China. And unfortunately, we just don't have enough customers in India to make that worth it. I hope if everything really works great in Asia, I think one day I might open up a thing in Hong Kong or Singapore, which would be able to ship more easily to India. But unfortunately, for now, that's just that's where we're at. We don't have the knowledge of the laws, and we don't have the scale to make it work, unfortunately. But let me know. I'd love to get great Chinese tea to friends in India someday. It would be. I just think it's really cool that there are people all over the world who are into it. We get a lot of like people from Singapore. I got recognized on the street in Shanghai by a bunch of tourists from Singapore who were just going down the street, and I was hanging out at a bar with some friends, and they were like, "Hey, you the tea guy?" I'm like, "Yeah." And they were just tourists from Singapore that were walking down the street in Shanghai and heard my voice, I guess. And they're like, doesn't that sound like the tea guy? So it was funny. There were three of them, and one of them was a fan of mine, and the other two were a little bit like, what happened to our friend? He just got really excited about meeting this rando white dude in Shanghai. So it was very funny. It was a good time. All right. Questions over here. Any other questions? The Brown Stallion, do you have a physical storefront? I don't. I don't for a couple of reasons. One, some of you may or may not know this, but for the 6 years before COVID, I ran a comedy club in Beijing. And I had a venue, I had a courtyard, I turned it into a theater. Every day we had events. It was really great. But I also put on like 350 events a year. It was constantly running. I had to pay rent, I had to pay employees. It was very nerve wracking to have an in person venue. And when COVID hit, it destroyed my club. I had to fire everybody, just total destruction. But for the year or two after that, as much as I was really sad that my whole life was destroyed and my club was destroyed, it was really nice not having to worry about a physical location and an air conditioner breaking or a branch breaking a window or having to hire people to be there 24/7. And so for the first couple of years, I had no interest in doing an in person shop no matter what. Now I'm kind of like, I really wish I could, but I live in Los Angeles where rent is very expensive. And it doesn't do anyone much good to have a tea house in rural China where rent is cheap. And so I don't know. And even if I had a tea house in LA, most of you still couldn't come to it. So I'm still trying to figure out what is the right way to do a in-person tea house, pop up, something that uses this community as opposed to just servicing, say, the, however many followers I have that are, within range of the shop in Los Angeles. Or is there some creative way to do? I've thought of everything. Like I really would love to do. What I'd love to do. I don't think this is a good use of money, but it would be fun. I would love to have a chain of like private tea clubs around the world that were like Airbnbs, but for tea. So it would be a tea themed Airbnb. And when somebody's living there, it's just an apartment and they can rent it. And when people are not there, we could be putting on events. And whenever I wanted to travel to say New York or to London or to Melbourne, I don't know, wherever we had one of these, I would at least have some place to stay and would have all my tea stuff there, and I would be ready to like do this, but in the other place. I don't know. It's a little bit of a pipe dream, but I think it would be a ton of fun. Um, People say I'd be all about a tea room if I could go and read there, just enjoy it. It sounds amazing. Ready to start the comedy club up again. I'm kind of thinking about this because I have a little bit of money saved, and I'm thinking whether it makes more sense for me to like rent a place that I could turn again into my comedy club tea house thing. It's just Los Angeles is expensive. It's expensive. The workers are expensive. The laws in California are kind of scary for employers. Employees have a lot of rights, which is good. But it means that I have no interest in employing anyone in California because you have very little control over your employees from a owner's perspective. And while I think that those laws are probably for the best, it does mean that I'm not interested in getting involved just because the laws are so complicated. I don't even understand them. So we'll see. The only people that I've hired in LA so far have been media people, and we have editors here, and our social media manager Yaya is here, but but even then, it's like in person tea house would be a thing. I don't know. I'd love to do it. I'd love to do it. I just don't know exactly how or when or why or when it's going to happen. But questions over here. Come to PA. I'd love to do some shows. I think I might do an event in Philly next time I'm on the East Coast. Yeah, unfortunately, it's easy to find for bad faith employees to take advantage. I don't even think it's bad faith employees. I mean, if employees have rights, they should use those rights. But also, and obviously, like the biggest theft in the country is wage theft, like employers not paying their employees right. I worked at CVS, like I saw a bunch of stuff. I think the laws are probably for the best. Obviously, you have 100 laws, maybe 80 of them are good or whatever. There's still 20 to whine about, but it does make it more complicated to hire people. A lot of China moves fast and a lot of stuff breaks there, but it's much easier to hire people in China than it is here. And it's just one of the things why things just happen faster over there, but then sometimes they break and blow up. So it still comes down to execution. There's a good way to run that system. There's a good way to run this system. there's a bad way to run this system, there's a bad way to run that system. Any system can have good or bad ways of running it, in my opinion. I one of my takeaways from kind of uh, the kind of like slow degradation of a lot of the governance systems that I grew up with has been that like the skill really matters. Like if you have skilled people running the system, you come out with a better result. And where people are replaced by unskilled people or people who are more interested in politics than in governance, it tends to go badly. And I don't even think I'm not even talking about any one particular country. I think just in general, I've gotten a chance to live abroad. I've met people from all over the world. I have good friends from Europe and good friends from China and from Japan and from Africa and Singapore and Australia and like Canada, and all the systems run differently. They all do different things well. They all do different things poorly, and the skill matters. Um, every firm profits off exploited labor. If it wasn't exploited, you'd be a wait. Uh, Boomer Lover says every firm profits off exploited labor. If it wasn't exploited, you'd be a firm owner. I'm not sure exactly what that means. Politicians only care about being reelected, and they change things to do that rather than the long term. I think that's true, although not everybody's elected. In China, that I've seen, I went in China. I had a friend who was a party member, and he showed me his ballot for election, and there was one candidate on the ballot, but they did technically vote. It was kind of funny. um, Also, around the Chinese election times, it's funny in the subway you'll see like people placing ballots into boxes, and like very few people are actually voting, but they want people to know the elections are happening, even though the election results are pretty much set. Um, Questions over here. Do you ever think you'd sell a tea set for people like sensitive hands, like the pitcher with the handle, the rotating guy one, double walled cups, etc., but all together? That's a that's a good question. We have all those items separately. We could make a bundle, but like if I made a bundle, it would just be repositioning all the stuff that's already there. Like unfortunately, like some things like weirdly are very difficult to do, and one of them is the packaging and rearranging of stuff. Like everything has to be packed in China in its in its box and then sent over because the warehouse staff doesn't know what the name of each of the sets are. They just need to scan a barcode and they know that we have the item. So if the item is fully complete like this, all of a sudden we can save tons of money. If this has to be manually like, put up in here and this has to be added to that, even that manual process adds a lot of cost. But maybe we could come up with some like coupon or something like that, where it's like, if you have, difficulty with like fine motor skill, these are the items that fit that. That's a good, it's a good thought. I'll think about that. Izzy Cavazos says, any tea recommendations for beginners? I always recommend getting a sampler. So I have multiple samplers on my website. Again, or on the TikTok shop. I have the 8 tea sampler here, which comes with 8 different teas in it. You open it up, it has 8 different info cards. It has all the teas in here. That's classic. Can't go wrong with that. I have the mini tome sampler. This thing has 7 different tea coins in it of 7 different flavors, all from Sister I, one of our tea farmers in Yunnan. Very good. We have a Taiwan sampler, which has been out of stock forever, but it is coming back. We have a tea orange sampler, of which I only have 1 orange left, but like this is 5 different flavors of tea oranges. And it's not a coincidence. I noticed that like from years of doing this, that you guys really like being able to try a bunch of different smaller amounts of tea, see the ones you like. And then we do see people come back and get the ones they like. So if they have 7 different teas in the mini tome, people do come back and buy 2 or 3 of them separately in larger sizes. And so that's going to be really cool. I recommend that. Let me check on my battery here because one of my things is really low battery. I might have to call it. Oh, I got 5% left. We'll go until the batteries die. or a little bit before that. Golden snail orange, awesome. I love the golden snail orange. Um, do you have the 1,000 year tea set coming back, or was it packaged so quickly? The 1,000 year tea set. Um, do you have the 1,000 year tea set coming back? It was packaged so beautifully. The 1,000 year tea, we have a 1,000 year tea tree tea in terms of the set. Maybe you're referring to the Sister Eye set that I'm using right now, and those are coming back. I would show you a picture, but you're on my phone, so I can't show it to you. But we have like a whole bunch of them. We made another couple hundred of them, and so they're getting packed, and they're going to be coming back, and they'll be here, I believe, on not the next shipment, but the one after that. I think they'll be back in the late summer. So yeah, they are coming back. We really never should have sold out of them in the first place. Like I talked to our restock team about why it is we've been out of stock of that set for so long, because we do want you guys to have that set. Sister I set is gorgeous. It was my first. It's a great set. I'm glad you liked it. Question over here. Got coffee from multiple regions and countries. I'm not sure what that's referring to, but I did get a sample of Yunnan coffee when I was in Yunnan last time, but I haven't made any of it yet, so we'll let you know how that is. I don't drink a lot of coffee though. I drink coffee like once a year. I just tried the from Emily, I believe it says Emily Rowe. I just tried the Leo Ball Black Jasmine and immediately bought more. It's so good. There we go. I love it. That's the way it should be. I'm like, if you like it, people will come back and get more. I really believe it. I just focus on getting really, really good tea, and I hope that you guys will try it and be like, "Whoa, never tried that. It is way better. It is way better. I'm gonna go back and get more." Blam. Kablow! That is the way to do it. I love Leo Bao, and I love the jasmine, and the thing about the jasmine, both the jasmine Leo Bao and the premium jasmine pearls that are coming out in the spring green tea. There's two different ways of adding scent to tea. In the West, usually what's done is they're sprayed with fragrant oil, and so that creates this thing where if you smell it in a tea shop, you go like, "Whoa, that's so strong," because the oil is so intense. But then the problem is it washes off, and so you have one very intense steep, and then it kind of dies. But the way that we do the jasmine tea, which is the traditional method, is called aromatization. So they take all the leaves and they lay them down on a tray, and then they take actual jasmine flowers and they cover the leaves one at a time in a giant grid, basically. And overnight, the scent of the jasmine comes out of the flowers and goes directly into the tea, and tea absorbs scent very well. This is one of the reasons I always say don't keep your tea in your spice cabinet, because it'll absorb all the different scents from your tea, and it'll make it all messy. And so the aromatized jasmine, they take all the flowers. The next morning, they remove those flowers and put new ones on. And ours is aromatized 4 times. This is why it's more expensive than the cheap stuff. Because it actually has like 4 days worth of production labor, and the flowers are not cheap either. The flowers are getting very expensive. As the market grows in China, the more and more people want the real, authentic, aromatized tea because it's so much better than the spray stuff. So the flowers get more expensive every year. Basically, it's added cost, but it really is worth it. It's like, and like at the end of the day, it's like, most people can afford to spend $1 or $2 on their tea every day. Like, there's not that much money you're saving by drinking a 20-cent tea bag as opposed to like $1.50 tea session. Like, yes, it's a lot more, but it doesn't really add up in the same way. I'm sure the tea can add up if you buy a lot of it, but like, you're not saving that much money by drinking horrible tea. It's really shocking how like the best tea in the world is still only $3, $4, $5 a session, and that session will make a lot of tea for a lot of people. So, very much encourage y'all to be able to try some of the teas. All right, we're gonna do one last question, and we'll go from there. OM just dandy says you showed some absorbent teaware before. Is that coming soon? Very likely. Won't 100% confirm it, but we are in the testing stages. We've made molds to be able to make our special absorbent tea trays, and If everything goes well with the next sample, then we're gonna have something really cool for you. And they're actually not that expensive. They're a little heavy, so the shipping cost might be a bit more, but they're not going to be crazy expensive. So I'm very eager to get back to you guys as well. So we have lots of great questions over here. Uh, yeah, we have lots of great questions. We say, "Hey, yo, that's my tea guy." There we go. That's a great comment to end the session on. So I'm gonna get going. I bought a bunch of stuff that I want to do today, and it's just great to be able to hang out with everybody again. Thank you all so much for your support. If you are a green tea pre-order person, thank you so much for your patience. They're coming soon. If you have not pre-ordered your green tea, you actually still can pre-order it and get the free tea pad that comes along with the pre-order, but not for much longer because they're almost here. And again, just thank you so much for your support. I just came back from 78 days in China. I'll have to tell some more of those stories on another live stream, but I'm able to do that stuff because of you guys and your support. It all works out great. I love spending time getting you guys a good tea. You guys like the tea. Everything, the universe is working as it should. So great. I'll see you guys around. Thank you so much. I'm Jesse. Have a good time, guys. Bye bye.